Sweet Christmas.
Shout out to my birds.
Hello, hello, hello. This is Che.
This is Cory.
And this is the Next Time On podcast, a podcast for two lifelong friends to discuss all things amazing and all things fetid in popular culture. This podcast is as if Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Barrett, instead of joining forces to tell women from New York to LA they can collectively go fuck themselves, they join forces to talk about how amazing Oscar Isaac is, to hopefully distract from the fact that they're trapped in a third world country masquerading at the land of the free. Is that fair, Cory?
Start the fucking episode. Let's just start this episode.
This podcast,
ladies and gentlemen, I'm in the midst of a move right now, and I am just over Che's shit.
I thought that was a pretty great intro.
Whatever.
If I had to say so myself.
Keep talking.
Today we're doing a full Marvel episode. We're going to be talking about the conclusion of the first season of Moon Knight. Hopefully not the last season of Moon Knight.
I doubt it.
It's always hard to tell with these Disney Plus shows. Only so far one has been confirmed as coming back, right? I guess not two.
I was reading about it now. Is that it seems like Marvel's changing it up from doing their long form contracts to keeping smaller contracts.
Always good for the laborer to get fucked, but I guess the laborer in this case is millionaire actors. So it's...
well, I think they want shorter contracts.
I guess the big ones probably would, right?
Which, like, one we'll talk about later on, which I heard a rumor about that. But I think with Oscar Isaac, it kind of seems to be like a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he'll come back.
I wonder if he's been burned by the Star Wars of it all.
I think he was very much burned by Star Wars and also that X-Men movie as well. I think he was kind of like,
he was in the Apocalypse of the X-Men movie.
Yeah,
he's basically not in it. It's such a weird choice.
No, he's not. But I can understand him being like, you know what? This shit sucks.
Yeah, I mean this is very different from being like basically no-name CGI villain in terrible X-Men movie and like third tier character in Star Wars movie. Like being their lead and getting to play like 6 different characters, which is a bit different. I know Star Wars is obviously still Disney, but I think it's a whole different thing, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's very different, but yeah, I think the Star Wars basically kind of burned him. I think they might have burned him out a bit towards the end.
Yeah. Well, we've already jumped into it, which you probably should know. We are, like I said, talking about Moon Knight, and we're going to be closing with basically this whole episode spoiler-free, or not spoiler-free, the opposite of spoiler-free, full of spoilers. So if you haven't seen the end of Moon Knight, and you haven't seen Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, just save this one for later. I mean, our podcast is amazing, but it's not worth you ruining, I think, 2 pretty fun Marvel experiences just to listen to us. But before we get into all that, of course, business as usual. You can follow us at Next Time On Pod on our social media platforms. You can follow us. You can find all of our archived writing, all of our future, past, present podcasts at nexttimeon.net. And last but not least, next episode. Cory's been ducking me like a motherfucker, but it's coming. Bulletproof Monk. We're doing the Curse of the Rewatch. Bad movie.
I can't.
Club.
I don't think I can do it, man. I'm moving.
Don't fucking do this to me.
I don't have internet. Probably.
Don't fucking do this to me. I don't care if our next episode isn't until July. We're doing Bulletproof Month next. You're not going to duck me forever.
I don't want to do this. Not describe how little I want to do this.
And our book club, which will be coming sometime, probably, I want to say end of May, but judging by Cory's moving and I got like wedding season is starting and we're of the age where all of our fucking friends are getting married now, I guess. I'm still in my room watching movies and reading comic books, but when we get around to our book club, which will be either the end of this month or sometime next month, we'll be doing Monsters by Barry Windsor Smith. Maybe it'll be good to push it off to June anyway, because that is a fat book. That's a fat one. Absolutely incredible, though. I'm excited to talk about that. But we got 2 pretty fun conversations to have, so let's jump into it. But before we do all that, of course, first we must do bringing back everybody's favorite, especially Cory, favorite segment of the show, the elevator pitch. Cory, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
I got it.
All right. I'm gonna put a minute on the clock as usual. Everybody who we got huge fans of the podcast at this point, so you all know what's up. I'm gonna put a minute on the clock. I'm gonna jankily point my phone.
It's so
camera.
busy.
So, whenever you're ready, Corey, go.
So the thing that I'm plugging is a book I think I might have mentioned in the past. It's this based off of originally it was like a blog, but it's called Hyperbole and a Half, written by Ali Broche. The book basically is this long form blog about her life, and I guess dealing with her dog who may or may not be being a child and eating salt and pepper, just kind of like life stories through that, told with some great little illustrations and a really good sense of humor. I think I just picked it up as like one of those things that kind of puts me in a really good mood. It's kind of like, and I recommend that. She's a great writing style, a really good sense of humor. I really should have prepared better for this because she also has a sequel book that's also just as good as this one. But if you're looking for an easy read, something that kind of just makes you laugh, I really got to recommend that book. I cannot recommend this book enough. Hyperbole and a Half by Ali Broche. 3, 2, 1.
As usual, Corey saving lots of time. I'm sure to go over though, so I'll borrow some of that. Those seconds.
I've been busy. I haven't had time for personal things, and it fucking sucks.
Corey's in the fucking trenches right now, ladies and gentlemen.
My house is on fire. My room is a mess. I don't know where anything is.
All right, well, I'll give Corey 60 seconds to have a mental breakdown while I give my elevator pitch, which, as usual, or I shouldn't say usual, but recently, is another TV show. So I'm going to put a minute on the clock and go. As I said, like basically the last 4 weeks, TV is just like fucking incredible right now. And one of the things that I was super excited to come back and has returned for its 3rd season, I think, is Barry, the Bill Hader show that continues to get darker and funnier as the seasons go on. I love the first season of this show where it was just about like this hitman sort of like in this slapstick comedy about trying to become an actor. He couldn't really stray away from being this horrible guy who kills people, ran into a bunch of self-absorbed actors, and he thought they were the greatest people on earth. And then as that season went on, you found out the show was like much bleaker than it really was. And then season 2, obviously, I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't seen it, it gets even darker. And then season 3 is just basically about PTSD. I think this thing that's great about the show is that it can both be hilarious and really smart about these difficult topics. So that's my pitch for extremely popular television show Barry, I guess.
Maybe I will eventually get around to watching it.
Have you not seen Barry? Oh
man, I've been busy.
You've been busy for 3 years.
Yes! Yes, I have! Genuinely.
Hey, listen, all the fucking Codename Kids Next Door you watched, I don't want to hear it. I genuinely couldn't think of any other cartoon shows. That's what just happened there.
I'm sorry, I watched
Corey's giving me a face
that relates to our podcast. I'm sorry, Che.
We're never going to talk about Codename Kids Next Door on this podcast, right?
Talking about no, we're not going to talk about Codename Kids Next Door on this podcast. That's my offshoot podcast.
Barry's fit. I think you'd really love Barry. I think really anybody listening to this.
Now I genuinely want to start a podcast where we examine each episode of Codename Kids Next Door.
I think I tried like one night. I don't know why, I just got in the mood. I was like, I really want to watch some old cartoon shows. And the only ones I can remember are Billy and Mandy, which is pretty easy to watch. That was on like HBO Max or something. And then I was like, I really want to watch Codename Kids Next Door. And it might be now that it's also on HBO Max or something. But at the time, you had to like create an account on Boomerang, and
holy shit, Boomerang.
Like they had like a Boomerang streaming site, which didn't even have all the episodes. It was like a couple from every season because I guess some weird rights thing. So I watched random episodes from Codename Kids Next Door on Boomerang.
I think it's like kind of funny about that show was I think it was like one of the first shows that did like they actually had a storyline after a while.
Well, I think that's what I remember. It wasn't the first episode like sort of a movie. Like it's like it wasn't in theaters or anything, but it was like a longer episode. I remember being sort of an event.
I think they had a movie at some point, but I just remember like the first part being like really stupid. Then after a while, I'm like, oh, there's like actually a plot that I'm paying attention to now that I'm.
Yeah. It ran like for 6 years apparently.
And it ends like it ends really bleakly too. It's like a really weird like show experiment thing.
Isn't that kind of the story with all kids cartoon shows though. You go back and you watch them like, oh, this was actually about like depression or
Like
or
Ed and
your
Eddie's
parents' death or something like that. It's usually something fucked up.
Like I think Ed and Eddie's like finale or movie like ends up with him like going to see his brother who's basically trailer trash and like an abusive piece of shit, and it's like, wow, this is the entire buildup was for his brother to be a monster. Cool thing, TV show that's very stupid.
Yeah.
That show
Also,
holds up.
I didn't realize this. I don't know why I would have known this as a kid because I definitely know who she was. Cree Summer
Yep.
is the voice actor for number 5.
Yep.
That's
also
big,
Susie.
big pull by Cartoon Network.
Also Susie from Rugrats. That's I think that was like one of her like beforehand. That was like her first like.
Don't think I knew that.
But yeah, no, I don't
Is
know.
Cree Summer out here doing voice work?
She's been doing voice work for a while. I think her voice is super distinctive. She even popped up in Atlanta for a second. In that animated episode where they like beat the shit out of the wolf who was like
that's right, one of my favorite episodes of all time.
Yes, I was like, I called it immediately. I'm like, because her voice is just so distinctive.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at some of her voice credits now. She was in Atlantis, the most underappreciated movie of all time. Also, the Atlantis sequel, which I didn't know existed.
Fucking Hellboy creator Mike Mignola did the character designs for that movie.
For Atlantis?
And from the monster designs and stuff. Atlantis fucking rocks.
Yeah, it's probably bad if we go back and rewatch it. But
yeah, I'm sure it doesn't hold up.
I don't intend to do that and ruin my childhood. That's what watching Bulletproof Monk is for. All right, it's no more beating around the bush. If you've made it this far for some reason and you still haven't seen all 6 episodes of Moon Knight, we will be spoiling the entire season. Thanks for listening to us rambling, but it's time to leave.
Okay, bye. I got more packing to do.
Not you. You have to stay. The listeners can leave. I mean, I would happily sit in my room and talk to myself on this podcast all day. But
this is what you've been doing the entire time. I'm not actually here.
Let's be clear. If this was a solo podcast,
I'm the other personality in your brain. I'm not actually. I've never been here.
If this was a solo podcast, we'd be talking about like Dr. Calgary's Cabinet Dr. Calgary or some shit. We wouldn't be talking about Moon Knight.
I keep really wanting to do a Garfield without like a John without Garfield comic like style for this podcast where I'm just like just take away my audio and just like have you here and just see what happens.
I would sound even crazier than I already do. Okay, let's see. So Moon Knight, we have 6 episodes. Oscar Isaac's introduction into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Not just Oscar Isaac though. At the end of the 6th episode, we get. Is this a real character? Because I'm not going to pretend like I'm in on the Moon Knight lore. Layla becomes the first Egyptian superhero, which there's a nice little scene where she saves a girl who asks, "Are you an Egyptian superhero?" And she says, "Yes." May Calloway in this show is fantastic. Basically, everyone's great, from Oscar Isaac to Calloway to Ethan Hawke, even F. Murray Abraham, who's just voice acting, but I can't read Khonshu now without hearing his voice, which
it's definitely has changed that for me. Okay, so I did a little bit of research. Basically, so her characters, I guess like the superhero name we're going with for this is Scarlet Scarab because I guess Blue Beetle was taken.
how mad would you be if Marvel made a Blue Beetle?
That'd be very funny. I think
Blue Beetle movie before DC did.
I mean, I think we actually are getting a Blue Beetle movie.
We have to. DC's like burned so many of their characters that they have to. I mean, we're still getting a Flash movie, which is shocking to me.
Are we sure?
These kids. Ezra Miller wasn't even like really in the Secrets of Dumbledore movie, so I don't actually know. It's gonna be very interesting to see if he survived the I guess the cuts or whatever.
Genuinely, I cannot tell. It doesn't matter. This really does not matter at all. It's a different character. They gender swapped and just kept the name. Mm-hmm. I don't really think there's anything to be learned from Scarlet Scarab, but I'm guessing it's going to be her superhero name going forward. I guess whenever she pops up again. I will say the one I loved her costume. I think, like I said, her costume fucking rocked. Yeah, honestly, way better than the Moon Knight costume. I think it's. I mean, I love the Moon Knight costume because it's pretty comic book accurate, but I think her like as a modern kind of
gold
situation.
wings and everything.
Yeah.
It's just
It's like the better version. It's like what they wanted to do in Wonder Woman 1984. They just did it better on a TV show.
Honestly, until you said Wonder Woman 1984, I'd forgotten that movie existed. How did they drop that bag so hard?
I don't know what happened. Like, I mean, it's a weirder thing. So whatever is like weird too when it's like the same creative crew when it just fucks up like that. But I mean, not like this television show, which I thought, at least to me, I don't think we said if we liked it or not, but I really did enjoy these 6 episodes.
Yeah, I think it was fantastic. I think it's gonna be hard not to just going back and compare all these to the other MCU shows. I still think Loki's my favorite, but I think Oscar Isaac is my favorite like show star so far. I think he's especially like in this episode where he's so fluidly switching back and forth between Mark and Steven. It's great. I'm not sure I understood the scene where he ends back up in the asylum after the final fight, but that scene's great just acting wise, where he like realizes, I guess, that I'm not. Did you ever read on that scene? I don't understand what it's supposed to be happening there.
I was trying to read up some articles as well because I was a bit confused on what exactly happened. So I guess it's like, from what I'm guessing is when like Khonshu like released them from his service. I guess he like got sent back into his like mental asylum because I guess Jake took over or something again.
But is that okay? So the logistics of that scene confuse me, and I know you're not gonna have the answers, but I'm just gonna ask the questions anyway.
Sure.
So that suggests that the scenes that we get in the previous episodes where he's in the asylum and running around the hallways, that's at least somewhat true because and at the end, Jake Lockley goes to the same asylum to get Arthur out of it.
Wasn't like he committed at some point though? Mark? I can't remember if they actually do that in the show or not, but
I mean, he must have been, but it's hard, especially in that scene. I thought we read the scenes in the asylum as all part of like this
like
fever
him dying
of him like cycling back through his life. But why would then Ethan Hawke's character, Arthur Harrow, actually be in the asylum with him, which seems to be the suggestion at the end of this season? I sort of let.
I mean, it just kind of seems like he somehow got ended up in that hospital.
Yeah.
Post. I think it's all like I'm not gonna kill you. I'm just gonna pretty much fuck your mind up, I guess, and like drop you off in an asylum because that's what you were doing to me. Because I mean, from what I'm just me just guessing right now though.
But it's even weirder because the read, especially in that scene with the way that Ethan Hawke is playing, is that it seems like he doesn't really know what's going on. And
until the very end.
Yeah, it's not like he's the puppet master or anything. And especially the after credit scene suggests that he's not in on it. But maybe the suggestion there is that his mind gets broken by being possessed by Amit.
Yeah, I swear, I just fucking like. Yeah, I wish I had a better answer for that.
I think that we had this a lot in the comic book too, where, and I think it's easier to pull off in a comic book where you're doing sort of ambiguous what is and isn't real. And the ambiguity of this season is my one real complaint about it because I don't think it really works. I don't think the parts where we're supposed to not know what is and isn't happening.
I think everything. Well. I think the only thing that I think to me at least the only thing that I'm like kind of confused on what was happening was the very end of it. I think that's the only point to me where it was like what happened really. But
the very end then throws into question some things that I thought we'd settled by the end of episode 5.
What do you mean?
Well, that's just what I'm saying. Like, I thought all this stuff in the asylum didn't happen. I think
it was in his head, but I think I don't know. I think it all was in his head, but it might have been some weird mindscape, God, Egyptian bullshit in between or something.
Yeah.
Some spiritual plane. I think it all happened. I think it's like mostly. I mean, it's fucking like just because it's in your head doesn't mean it's not real kind of situation. But like, I think
now who's quoting J.K. Rowling?
Yeah, I mean that was intentional, asshole.
I know. I just think the fun of this show and that what really is working is how great Isaac and Kalawi are.
Yeah, I mean even she had some fun scenes where she was able to go back and forth between a different personality.
Yeah, that wasn't her voice though, right? Unlike Oscar Isaac, who's doing both voices.
No, that was a hippo voice. Hippo voice.
Yeah. I thought they were going to just have her. I guess it would have been more confusing for the audience because we don't get as much. We don't
And
get
also
as much
that's,
of a grounding in the character. I thought they were just gonna have her do the accent, which would have been really fun. But
also it's like I guess it's like one of the things too where like she's not. I mean Jake's technically Mark, but that's
Right.
more of like a. And also we already have the establishment of like the hippo character talking in her same voice through corpses, which is also just fucking dark as hell too.
I do love the part
Or
where
how
she was
jolly
like,
that-
how can you bring this guy back to life? And then she's like, well, I'm talking to you from a dead body, so I mean, maybe it's possible.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
Fair.
If I lived in the Marvel universe, I think basically after half the population disappeared and reappeared, I probably wouldn't then question anything. I honestly, in the Marvel universe, I'd probably be a flat earther. I'd just be like, everything's fake and the government's lying to you about everything.
Man, imagine just being in Egypt and you look over, you see a fucking gigantic alligator fighting a weird bird skull thing.
Could they see that?
I'm assuming so. It seemed like they saw it.
I thought it was supposed to be
People were running and hiding from it.
Yeah, that's
Also,
true. Yeah, and they were
people,
destroying buildings, weren't they? Yeah.
A lot of people died in this one.
Yeah, who has a bigger body count, Jake Lockley or Arthur Harrow? Because it's
unclear,
close.
but it seems like might be Arthur, honestly, because he was just like people were just like
yeah. But once he got his
dropping.
staff, he was just killing people left and right.
Always seems so far. It seems like Jake just kind of kills people who are bad. So just
Well, okay, so I have some not necessarily questions. I don't really understand the introduction of Jake, like the half introduction of Jake, because we get to see. So now they're like Mark and Steven, I guess just Mark for
but Steven,
sanity's sake.
They're both there. We got to get
No, but I just
both,
mean like for the point of us talking, I can't keep saying Mark and Steven every time.
You can say both.
Fine. Mark and Steven are now aware that there is at least a third other person for sure.
No.
And what do you mean no?
Why do you think that?
Well, because they both blacked out during the fight, and they have eyewitness.
Where is she though? They don't know. There's no confirmation for any of that.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Where
they blacked out? I mean, I don't know. Like, there's like, I mean, they're dealing with some fucky shit going on. Like, I don't know. I guess they even put two together.
You think
about
Mark
like,
really still thinks that was him that did all that?
But I'm saying but they don't say it though. We don't know that he says it though. Because I mean, if Mark knew that there was a third personality, why would he only specify? Like, he would have probably said, "You need to let everybody be done with this." I feel like because the loophole that Khonshu basically was able to do is like, oh, he doesn't know about this third person basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't think Mark. I think maybe. I mean, it does make sense, and I'm sure they're gonna figure it out pretty quickly. But I think at the end of the show, like they're not aware that there's a third person. I think they're like more under the assumption that they are free, and I guess gonna try to figure out like,
I just don't know how you could live, especially like Mark, especially Steven, until like wildly like a week ago before he went on the most insane journey of all time, was not aware that there was like multiple personalities living inside of him. But Mark, I would think if you blacked out at this point, it's the third time he's woken up with like a dead body in his hand, and he knows it wasn't Steven. You'd think you'd put one and one together and maybe parse it out.
You would think,
especially if Layla's standing there watching you. I mean, that's
where
why
is Layla? That's why he woke back in his bed again. They're like, we don't know what happened in that. Like,
yeah. I
think we're supposed to be kind of like, there's a lot of questions like, why isn't Layla there? Why is he once again in his bed strapped to the, like, what is a lot of these questions happen?
Yeah,
really
I mean, the show is an origin movie in a lot of ways, that it leaves us with a lot of questions to be asked about this.
Which is why I don't think he's just going to be like pop up in him. I think he might pop up in a movie. I'm not saying that. I just think that I think there's going to be another season, because I think there's a lot more story to be explored before like him, at least like with that. I mean, I think he has to do a solo movie, or like it's going to be a significant amount of time having to be put towards him if they wanted to do that kind of situation.
I still think Blade is the most, like, even if it's just like an after credit scene or just like a cameo or something, I still think Blade is the most likely appearance of him.
I think so too. I mean, like, it also seems like, I mean, yeah, I think it's like not, I'm not gonna say it is a coincidence, but I mean, I think Europe would be a lot more of an interesting like location to explore, like Europe and Egypt, obviously, but I think with Blade showing up in Eternals, in England, so I don't know, I feel like that's where they might start out with. Also, I feel like it'd be a lot of fun to kind of see just Oscar Isaac with these multiple personalities bouncing off other people like that.
Yeah, Mahershala Ali and Kit Harington, who
Yes.
he just needs this. I need Blade to work for my boy Kit.
I think they're starting production, I think, this year.
Yeah. Well, isn't it supposed to come out in like 2023? But I hope they would have started production already.
I don't even know the schedule anymore.
Yeah, but I named my Game of Thrones alums to like have a good life because Sophie Turner is like fifth build on a not very good HBO Max original.
Wait, they tried her as Jean Grey and it didn't work out.
I cannot fault anybody in that movie. I can't. I mean, yes, she wasn't good at it, but I can't possibly imagine that working on that movie was like even
enjoyable,
remotely like easier. There are people in that movie who are genuinely talented actors who look like they've never been in a movie before.
I mean, Jennifer Lawrence basically
Jennifer Lawrence she checked out like years ago before
she basically got herself killed off so she could stop doing these movies.
I think my favorite, I would love to have heard the contract negotiations for like I'm no longer being Blue Mystique bullshit, even though First Class is essentially entirely about like her accepting walking around as Blue Mystique. and Jennifer Lawrence is like, I'm not gonna be in makeup.
Is Jennifer Lawrence racist? More than 11.
Against Smurf people?
Against Smurf people. He fucking hates Avatar.
Well, so I mean, a slight detour, but of course the Avatar trailer officially launched with Doctor Strange. We're gonna talk about in a second. I saw a couple of tweets about people being like, "Oh, I'm like, this is why they kept it a secret because people are so excited." Some guy tweeted, I wish I'd seen
You go to the movie theater, you get drunk, you eat an edible, and you watch Avatar. That is what it is.
I know, but like,
you're not going there. Somebody pointed, like, I was listening to a podcast, like, listen, it's the most bare bones, stupid story, but the point of it was just to get some good visuals. And I think that's what this is going to be the reason for it. Is it going to be bad, Che? Probably.
Yeah.
Am I going to see it in IMAX? Probably.
Are you really? Are you going to?
Yeah.
That's my question though. Is who are all these people that are so excited?
I'm going to see it. I'm not excited for it. I'm just going to go see it. I'm not saying I'm excited for it. I'm going to see a lot of things this year I'm not excited for. I'm excited for that.
Like what? What else are you going to see that you're not excited for?
Like that Shelf movie or Men. Like, I don't want to see those movies, but
First of all, you do want to see Men. Don't do that.
I don't want to see Men in the sense that I want to be scared. I don't want to be scared.
Also, what fucking Shelf movie are you talking
Shell,
about?
whatever that one is. Like the fucking talking shell thing. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
that thing. You know what I'm talking about. The kid's shell movie. I'm going to go see that probably. I'm not excited for that.
Corey's like angry about shit that hasn't even happened yet. I was supposed to be the bad one. You know that, right? I'm the angry black man, and you're the reasonable one.
That's not true. That's never been true. What if I've been the reasonable one?
That's what I signed up for, to be honest with you.
This packing is breaking my brain, guys.
So I will say the Moon Knight is still. Now this doesn't mean much of anything because we've had this happen before, especially most recently with oh my god, the Big Little Lies. It is still called a miniseries on IMDb Pro, which is
doesn't matter though.
Yeah, but usually that seems like original. It suggests that maybe originally their plan was contain story and then spin off these characters and other things, which I thought that's what these shows were going to be, is like their new approach to origin movies, realizing that like the origin movie is not working for us. It's always our biggest mistake. It was up until Eternals, in like since phase 2, their biggest critical bomb at least had been Captain Marvel, their only real traditional origin movie in that time. And I thought the plan was, I thought it was a good plan, was basically turn all these origins that, especially as we need to cycle in a whole new batch of characters into TV shows and then spin them off into our movies. But I guess they've really seen that like maybe TV is the wave of the future for the MCU in particular. And I wonder if we're starting to get more TV and less movies from Marvel.
I think it looks like I'm reading it right now. I think like the whole thing might kind of hedge on what does Oscar want to sign up for.
Yeah.
I think that's
if I was an actor, I think I'd just rather do movies though. It feels like less of a commitment.
It probably is, yeah, I'm sure. But it's like, I guess in this one, it kind of like he was able to flex his acting muscles a lot.
Yeah, I was still playing this character seems like a lot of fun for an actor, especially
but I think like
as we're getting more characters introduced.
Which I was wondering what they were gonna do with Hawkeye, because I know Hawkeye, like when right before the season finale, they switched it from series to season.
Yeah.
Like right before the last episode, and I'm wondering if there was
I still can't believe that wasn't the end of Jeremy Renner in the MCU. That's still shocking to me.
However, by the final episode's release in May, a promotional tweet from the episode called it a series finales before being deleted and shared, calling it a season finale.
Yeah.
Despite no indication of any further seasons.
Yeah, it seems like at least they will all. I mean, the execs at Disney are crunching all the Disney Plus and box office numbers and figuring out what makes the most sense for their money printing machine. I'm sure, but it seems like at least originally the plan was all of these would be miniseries except for Loki, which is interesting to me that Loki was the one that they were like pretty confident would be multiple series, because that seems like the one that's most primed for like get Tom Hiddleston to introduce our like multiverse thing, which it turned out wasn't actually the case. That was more of that was more happened in Spider-Man than anything. And then let Tom Hiddleston, probably one of our, if not the biggest remaining star in our cinematic universe, cook in the movies for a while before he gets tired and wants to go back to playing Shakespeare movies in the British theater scene or whatever.
I mean,
actually, I don't know what Tom Hiddleston does in his free time.
I don't fucking know either. But speaking of multiverse, Jay, I think we should move on to Marvel's latest money printing machine in the theaters, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So I guess we're going to spoil a lot of things with this discussion. So, if you don't want to be spoiled, turn off this podcast now. Stalling for time to give you a second to pause your thing before we just hop right into this.
What am I pausing?
No, I'm good.
We're good.
No, we're good. I'm good.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Wait, pausing what thing?
I was trying to give our audience a second to pause.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me, and I was like, do I need to do something in between topics that I forgot about?
Well, I think the stalling is going to be good for them too. Jesus Christ.
I didn't know what the fuck was going on. Yeah, I mean, if they need more than 5 seconds to pause a podcast.
Listen, sometimes
they're
you're
fucking
in the
lost in the sauce.
If you're in the shower or some shit like that happens, I don't know.
You shouldn't be listening to us in the shower. We're too abrasive for a shower.
That's fair.
We're more like.
But I feel like every time
running for your life in the woods, we're the soundtrack to that.
But at the same time, I feel like you might need a shower after listening to our podcast. I couldn't understand that.
We're not that bad.
We're okay.
Listen, there's a lot worse people out there having podcasts. Joe Rogan still collected stacks of from Spotify. All right,
let's stop talking about stupid shit. Let's talk about some wizards.
So Sam Raimi's triumphant. It seems.
I'm going to say triumphant. I'm going to say triumphant
return
to, I would say, superhero films, but also horror again, because what a good mashup of
had more horror elements than I was really expecting from a Marvel movie.
There was scared children that I enjoyed seeing during this movie.
There was a couple kind of legit jump scares.
Yeah, he still is very good at it, but it's also kind of tied into the whole 80s it's very schlocky, and the whole her chasing them down, basically Jack Nicholson in The Shining around the through the hallways was terrifying. But let's just kind of start with I'm not gonna run down the plot because but let's start with the characters basically. So instead of starting with Doctor Strange, let's start with from the trailers that I saw, there really wasn't the indication on who the big bad was gonna be. A lot of speculation, but I didn't really think it was going to go this direction. And I swear to God, in the trailer, it was, I guess that wasn't Elizabeth Olsen behind them. But I thought maybe that there was going to be a different multiverse version of Elizabeth Olsen who's going to be the big bad in the movie. But we ended up having Prime.
I'm surprised. That's what I was surprised at, because it does seem like a pretty easy move. You have this character who you just spent all of WandaVision sort of redeeming in a way.
I don't think I mean I'm also looking at it a different way. I'm looking at it as a villain origin story in a sense. But I think we also do establish in the movie itself as well that it's not entirely her fault. Because I think
she's a more sympathetic character by the end of the movie than I was expecting for somebody who essentially does a genocide.
Well, I think what they're kind of getting at though, and kind of showing when they showed the evil Doctor Strange in that universe, was that it's if you get
they kept calling Doctor Strange all awful, but they just seem like kind of like maybe a little bad at their jobs. Like especially first Doctor Strange, I still think his like I have to sacrifice you because you can't control your powers is like shitty, but the other like the two versions of this are like kill this kid to save potentially trillions of people.
Yeah. I think it's more than trillions. I think it's trillions on infinite.
Basically. Yeah, which is like a calculus that's the whole point of being the Sorcerer Supreme is you have to make these horrible decisions. That's why we get that great scene from Tilda Swinton in Infinity War.
But I think the whole point. I mean, I can think the whole point about what are the main character Doctor Strange is that like we're supposed to be rooting for the guy who doesn't compromise, I guess. But I mean, I think there is like that whole pragmatic thing, which I think like the old Doctor Strange comics where he was just a lot more of like this guy is just like in charge of magic shit. He's just pretty much a lot more like this is what you do basically, and he's a lot more of like a asshole,
right?
Which I kind of feel like that's like what the first one was definitely like leaning on a lot, and it does make sense. But I kind of, yeah, I think it's just kind of I think like in a sense though, like each Doctor Strange that we see for a sense aren't the best at their jobs, and I mean even ours is like which we ended up killing Thanos in the end of the day. 5 years later, but I mean, how many people fucking died because of that?
That scene with Michael, oh my god, I'm Stu Barner, but I can't actually remember how to say his last name, so I'm just gonna bail on it. Where he's like, was this the only way? And Doctor Strange, of course, you know, we still, as the audiencers, I think, supposed to believe that it was, but it's a good point. They're like, well, I mean, sort of all of this was decided by one guy, and he made the choice to sacrifice a lot of people who, like, yes, many of them came back, but like the character suggests, like his mother passed away when he was gone for 5 years, and there's a lot of people who we're never gonna get this Final Destination spinoff from Marvel, who I'm sure like reappeared and immediately died for whatever reason. So even though like they, you know, it was a really great scene where obviously the characters come home at the end of Endgame, there's a lot of people who still, even though they came back,
and I think that's also like, and I guess it's also like kind of like looking at the like reasoning of our Doctor Strange not like leaning into the whole like sacrificing mentality because he pretty much has already done that once before. And we like I think we see each of the Doctor Strange, like all of them, you made a decision which led to like basically like catastrophic like situations. I mean, the only two. I mean, like at one point we get like, as we like talking about Doctor Strange more, which also just like as a character himself, just like at the end of the movie, it's just kind of like he comes in very as a clearly a heartbroken person, and he kind of does leave. I mean, a bit more optimistic, but like he ends the movie. It's like that's not a really. He didn't really like. He won and like he saved the universe and all that shit in the multiverse, but it's like as a person and character, it's like you still like. It's rough, I think.
Well, especially because it's never going to be as satisfying as, for say, defeating Thanos, because what you've done is you've defeated your friend who's having this like traumatic experience.
Traumatic experience, but also she's like possessed by an evil book. Like,
right.
I'm gonna keep on harping on the fact that I think like, I mean, yes, like she definitely, but I'm gonna keep harping on the fact that I think it was very intentional that they showed how fucked up the Doctor Strange was in that universe where everything was getting sucked into a black hole. I don't even know what to fucking call that universe.
Well, they were. What was the term? I can't remember the word. That's
was it incursions?
Incursion. Yeah.
Yeah, which is like we'll talk about that in a second too. But yeah, I guess like with that one, basically, yeah, it drove him insane. I think it's kind of the same thing with like Wanda, where like she was clearly in a very bad place, and then she discovered something that was like the opposite of helpful. And drove her insane. So
yeah, I mean, I think the best parallel is actually between our Strange and the dead Strange, 818 Strange, who he sort of has to make the same decision that Strange has, like how do we defeat Thanos, and chose incorrectly, and we see how tragically that could go to the point where there's this scene where he's getting killed by his friends after defeating Thanos, which is Yeah, I mean that's a fucked scene. Only topped by when instead of Black Bolt killing somebody, he killed himself.
Yes.
What? Why do this to me, Marvel? You tease me, you bring back. Although that's not. I still, if they're gonna make a Black Bolt show, they need to recast my guy.
Che, that ain't gonna happen. I'm sorry, my brother.
I'm just gonna mail the exact set at the Marvel.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will open
copies of Saladin Ahmed's Black Bolt. And so
yeah, I don't. Che, you're never gonna get. I'm sorry, my brother. You're never gonna get that.
It's like the only good Marvel book in the last 5 years.
Well, that's false. But like, let's not talk about that. Okay, so I guess it's also like, let's just like run down the whole Illuminati thing. First off, Illuminati, in every universe, in comics and movies, those sanctimonious assholes always get what they deserve. But I guess this is the first confirmation that we're like getting John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic.
Well, is it? I mean, it is sort of like it's a confirmation because we had the hint before, but it's not necessarily like all these people are probably not coming back. Most of the other ones, right?
No, I don't think so. But I think it would be very weird just to have John Krasinski play a character that has a movie coming out in the next 3 years, and then be like, "We're gonna get somebody different." I feel like that'd be a weird move. I think everyone else was a bit more of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge at the audience.
Yeah.
It was very funny to try to explain who Black Bolt was to my friends afterwards. They were like, "Yeah, who was that guy?" And I'm like, "He's the king of the Inhumans." Like, what's in Inhumans? Mutant people who live on the moon.
It's funny because there are statistically there has to be at least 3 Inhumans fans, like of the TV show Inhumans, who are really excited to see Anson Mount like show up in a Marvel movie.
I was excited.
Just to be clear, Anson Mount from the Inhumans show showed up in a Marvel movie before anybody from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And that's a fact.
Damn, that makes me sad.
They did that show so fucking dirty.
Damn, that makes me a little bit sad actually.
They couldn't have got a cameo in Winter Soldier or something like.
I didn't actually I didn't know that I never saw the Inhumans TV show, so I had no idea who the actor was. So I was just more like I was more just pumped to be like, oh shit, Black Bolt's like actually on like the big screen, and like
I think that's what most people's experience was. And then I saw like Mount's got a very distinctive chin. And I was like, oh yeah, that's the guy. So
yeah, was he like wearing the costume in the TV show, or was it just like?
They definitely made some improvements for the movie. I mean, the show looked really, really cheap and bad. Like it was. I mean, that's one of the final throwaway Marvel shows where they just like gave it to ABC.
I think it just did. I mean, I think ABC already had that. It was like they were doing S.H.I.E.L.D. first.
No, I was saying it's one of the last ones that was not on Disney Plus. Like even gotcha. I think that's even 2017. That's after.
This is a long time ago.
Iron Fist, right? Yeah. Because Iron Fist is the last, unless we're counting the Defenders, which we're not. Iron Fist is the last Marvel Netflix show. So of new properties, Inhumans is like a couple months after. So that's the last. I think the 11% on Rotten Tomatoes is maybe when Marvel was like, let's not let other people make our shit anymore.
Yeah, I think that's probably the time that they brought it back. But I think that was but I think everyone else was the wink, wink, nudge, nudge at the camera.
Yeah, I agree with you. We're gonna see John Krasinski again.
I think John Krasinski can come back, but I think everyone else is more.
Are people excited for that?
I am.
Are people excited for John Krasinski as Reed Richard?
That was like one of those I think that was like a very popular fan casting on the internet for a long time, and I was also I'm a big John Krasinski guy.
I like Krasinski. I don't really know what the read is on him as far as like I guess people love The Office, so that was not intentional. Pun very much not intended. I do think that
he got fucking murked.
That scene bugs the shit out of me.
Do you have kids? Yes. Do you have a wife? Yes. Well, that's good.
I mean, she becomes like. I do think it's gonna be a pretty difficult move as far as the writing of Marvel. I mean, I guess it won't be difficult because they'll just have to put her in a movie and play some good music behind her and we'll all be fine with it. But if there were repercussions in the MCU, it would be a pretty difficult move to walk this character back from the abyss. It's not even like Loki was obviously the big bad in the Avengers, but
they kill like 70 people.
Yeah, but even he doesn't get this dark in a way that we have to watch up close.
Yeah, that's true.
The Black Bolt blowing up his own brain is
that was pretty.
That has like not been in a Marvel movie before. I don't think
she didn't have to do that. No. Like she could have definitely killed him in a very different way.
I will say that. So speaking of that scene bugs the shit out of me because let's be clear. I understand what they were going for. Like women power, love it. Not being sarcastic at all. I do think that if she can blow up the guy's brain who can
Yeah.
kill you with a word, and Reed Richards, he can turn into like a fucking confetti. Maybe Jetpack and Shield Lady shouldn't have lived
Okay,
this long.
all right.
Is
Well,
all I'm
okay,
saying.
okay. Che was saying if we exist in the world where that scene exists, which I
I
mean,
know.
listen, we also have to take away the point of that whole women empowerment scene from Avengers Endgame because that scene makes literally zero sense.
No, it does. It doesn't. And you know, I
That-
have a shirt I love that scene. I love it. It doesn't, but it's nonsense.
It makes
Obviously.
the scene is absolutely nonsense. It's fan service, man. Because
Yeah, there's characters like at the border of the team shot who you're like, I don't think they even have powers.
Yeah, it was just like
What are
it's
they
like-
gonna do?
It's like Captain Marvel. It's just like, I mean, like she can like fight Thor. Like it's like, what the fuck are y'all gonna do? Like, let's be
I think
honest.
who is the funniest addition to that shot? It's got to be
I don't
Mantis,
remember.
right?
Yeah, Mantis. Like the fuck.
Mantis being like, what are you gonna do, Mantis? Just go home.
We know you have like you can whatever.
But no, I did really like. I think most people really love the Illuminati scene. I really love the Illuminati scene because I think, especially the interaction between him and I can't remember the character's name. Chiwetel Ejiofor's
Oh, Carl.
Carl. It's not Carl, is it?
It is Carl. Baron Carl Mordor.
Oh, it's right. More. Yeah, okay. I'm not gonna call him Carl.
I'm gonna call him Carl.
I can't.
With
I
a K.
can't call a man who wears dreads and a cape Carl. I just
His name
can't
is
do
Carl. It's okay. His name is Carl.
it. I think that scene
Doesn't matter what you call him.
was actually my favorite of the.
I'm glad they was able to bring him back in like some capacity, and I hope they were able to bring him back whenever they make the third version of like the third movie.
Yeah,
I like this character a lot in the first one. He was
I
a very
think- Other than Benedict Wong, he's my favorite of the Doctor Strange universe characters. I really thought, especially based on the end of the first movie, he was going to be our big bad.
I assume so too, and I feel like that might have been a plan at some point.
Yeah.
I definitely think they definitely made a shift in direction for this one.
Marvel got way bigger over the the last couple of years.
They had to reevaluate some things, shift some things around, I guess.
So we've touched on all the characters but one. Is it time to have the America Chavez conversation?
Here's the conversation. You don't like her, I like her. That's the conversation.
Okay. Can I defend myself a little bit?
No. I want to talk about incursions, but okay, talk.
Well, first of all, I think the America Chavez character is not a great her run.
The run was horrible. Like, let's not,
Yeah.
her solo run was just like notoriously bad as a comic.
So poorly written, and I really wanted to like it because I thought it's like a cool idea for a character.
But she's like she does pretty well in team books. So I liked her character a lot in Young Avengers, and I liked her character a lot in the Ultimates series.
Okay, I think I've only read her in one other book, and I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but I remember not really being an America Chavez fan because to the point where I had somebody specifically come to me and was like, "Oh, I had like they were trying to get a comic book for a niece of theirs who is a Latino," and they were like, is there any good Latino comic books? They like Marvel a lot, and the only one I could think of was America Chavez. I was like, no, don't do it to him. But I will say, listen, I'm not here to talk shit about 16-year-olds because they're 16-year-olds, but she's just not a good. I'm sorry.
Why am I said I liked her. I'm not saying I loved her.
I just thought she was so bad to the point where
bad.
it undermined some like really important scenes. And Sam Raimi in particular, who I'm not a big Sam Raimi guy, but I get his appeal. He loves to do insert shots. Like he loves cutting back to characters to get like one-off reactions, and he does it a ton with Benedict Wong in this movie, who's great at it because Benedict Wong is the king of like reaction faces, I guess. Didn't realize that until this movie. But every time they would cut to Gomez for a reaction shot that gets inserted into this pretty important scene between like Benedict Cumberbatch and Elizabeth Olsen, or Benedict Cumberbatch and Rachel McAdams, or even Benedict Cumberbatch and Bruce Campbell for some reason.
What do you mean for some reason? It's the Sam Raimi film.
I know,
He's
but,
going
like,
to pop up at some point.
I know.
It was like I don't know why you're saying for some reason it's a Sam Raimi movie. You
It's
like
fair.
Bruce, it was more about when than like if. I honestly thought it was just gonna be like a random Doctor Strange like multiverse like alternate version. I was just gonna run by for like one quick second.
I'm worried for if she's gonna be.
It'll be fine.
How you said
be
that
fine.
before, but
But yeah, have I been wrong?
yes.
What with who?
Listen, you
Huh?
told me that after Martha, it was all gonna be fine. You told me
Oh, you
after
tripping.
the
You
director's
tripping.
cut
No,
of Batman vs
no.
Superman, you were
No,
like,
no,
they got
no,
this
no,
figured
no.
out.
No, what the fuck? Are you high? Shit! Don't ever put me as the Zack Snyder defender or whatever.
Somebody from the audience will run the tapes on you. I
Find
just
the
listen,
tapes.
I-
Find them.
I will not pretend to have seen. I honestly, I wish I could say her first name, but
I want to. Can we just talk about? I want to talk about Secret Wars. You're like teasing me about talking about Secret.
All right,
Wars.
talk about Secret Wars. I don't have like
what's there else to say about her? You didn't like her. It's just like fine. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. They're not gonna come after you, Che.
Who's they?
You'll be fine. I don't know. You're trying to build a case for yourself.
I think you're fine. I just think learn from Game of Thrones and age your characters up. Like get a 20-year-old or something.
I'm surprised. I am actually surprised they went that young with her character,
especially because everybody else isn't that young.
No, and like I was thinking of the other Young Avengers as well. The characters at least they've been setting up, and I mean in the comics, I think like her and Kate Bishop did date, for like a little bit.
Well, they better not now because
no,
Haley Stanfield's like 25. So
yeah. No, yeah, it's I don't know. It was I'm wondering what the decision was with that.
She is around the same age as Iman Vellani, who's been cast as Miss Marvel. She's 19, so it's like they're close in age at least.
Wait, who's 19? Miss Marvel?
Yeah.
So the actress is 19 for that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, she's supposed to be like 14, I think.
Well,
but who knows?
She if you guys look, she
but like no,
look
but
19. She looks
okay.
very.
Well, I mean Tom Holland still looks like a fucking child, so you know.
Tom Holland's like approaching 30. Isn't he 30 now?
No, he's still younger than us.
Oh, he's 25. Okay.
Yeah, like I was like watching.
He said he's still younger than us. He will always be younger than us, by the way.
Yeah, but you never mind.
I didn't remember how old he was. I just like the use of still. He's still younger than us.
I've had a fucking day, Che, and
You want to talk about Secret Wars before we completely lose the plot of this episode?
Yeah. So I mean, I think this. I mean, I think that's the assumption of where we're going next, right?
Yeah, we thought that for a while.
But I think
it is the next big thing, right?
And I think with the deliberate use of incursions, and I think also showing the Illuminati, which is just like if you guys, I mean, we talked about how good the Hickman New Avengers runs were. Yeah. I mean, the primary plot line of that book was the Illuminati dealing with incursions.
Right.
A lot of people in my theater laughed that it was like the Illuminati, and I'm like, it's not the stupid thing. Like, it's not the fucking bullshit.
It is a rough drop line after what
like
the Illuminati's become. Like it is. If you're like a comic book fan, the Illuminati is a cool drop line for like
from 2008. It's like it was like a long ass time ago too.
Yeah, but now when I think of the Illuminati, I think that white people are like Jay-Z and Beyonce are in a room trying to.
I think there was a very
inject your kids with vaccines or something.
There's a very big reason that the New Avengers run, which was basically the Illuminati book, was called New Avengers and not Illuminati, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's my assumption of where we're going next. Especially because I think we're getting Fantastic Four soon. I'm wondering who they're gonna get for Doom because I've been waiting for that big announcement because I feel like we have Kang sitting in a corner, but I think like Doom is also the other one that we need to do well.
So is Secret Invasion just shelved, or is it going to be part of this whole thing?
It's a TV show, but I'm wondering what's.
But I thought, like, especially based on the end of Captain Marvel, and we get what's the other movie? There's another Skrull after credit scene in
Spider-Man, whatever the one he was in England.
Homecoming.
No
Way Home. Far From.
No wait. No.
Who cares? That one.
The second home one.
They need to just put numbers back in movies. It's my new campaign. But I thought that Marvel was really leading into the fact, especially because it seemed like they like basically sidelined Nick Fury until Secret Invasion, and before that he was such a big part of this. I mean, he was basically the through line through.
I wonder if that's more of a Sam decision though. I wonder what was the choice between.
I don't know. Samuel Jackson is like happy to still be working. I think
that's true.
He's out here still making movies, and it's not like I don't think, especially compared to all the guys who had to go jump on CGI sets and do makeup for hours. I mean, he puts an eye patch on and he walks around a set for a bit. I don't think
that's fair. I guess that's fair. I'm wondering what they're doing with Secret Invasion because like last we saw him, he was in space.
He is credited as in the Secret Invasion show. So
I think that he's like the main character of that show. Like he's going to be like the main person. I think
as far as like Secret Invasion versus Secret Wars, I think Secret Wars is a much better.
Well, I think
arc
Secret Wars is
in a way.
also Secret Wars is also like the much bigger like it's gonna be a big event basically. I mean, it was like Infinity Gauntlet level shit, except the storyline actually was good in the comics.
Well, the other reason I thought Secret Invasion was the plan for a while is because the Fantastic Four are such a big part of it, and I thought that was going to be a
Secret Invasion is more the Avengers.
But I mean, it's mostly the Avengers.
But like Secret Invasion was a big Bendis thing. Like that's what it was. It was like big Bendis. That like when Secret Invasion was happening, that's when Hickman started basically his whole like secret 10-15 year plan into ending with like Secret Wars basically.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying the Hickman Fantastic Four run that ends with Secret Wars is one of the greatest comic book runs of all time, which is why I'm very excited for this. But yeah, now Secret Invasion is much more of an Avengers thing than I think a Fantastic Four thing.
I just remember Richard and being
Richard
around a lot though.
He's always around. You got science shit, he's around. It's like Iron Man, but like it was a lot more of like a team. But the whole like ploy behind it, which I thought was very cool, was like every book you read, there's at least one scroll in it, and I thought that was a very cool like lead into an event.
Yeah.
But like Secret Wars was like,
which is what it seemed like they were doing in the MCU for a while.
I think
I remember there being like fan theories that like people had been Skrulls for like movies and we hadn't figured out, and that's just clearly not the case anymore. Like they seem to have dropped that by the wayside. They might
still do that though. Who knows? We'll see what happens. I mean,
I think that's asking a lot from your audience to get invested in two different overarching plot lines through your movies and TV shows.
No, I don't think so. I think the audiences at this point are fine. I don't know. I think they'll be fine.
Maybe. I do think that there's like, I think that's testing your luck with.
I think Secret Wars is much farther down the line. Like, I think I think Secret Invasion might be like the stopgap or whatever. I think Secret Wars.
Because when's this Fantastic Four movie? It's next year or 2024?
I think 2024, 2025.
Okay. So it's at least after 2024. So I guess that's a good point.
I think I think there's like I mean, also we got to introduce Kang some more. We got a lot. I think there's a lot of like work that they can get get into.
Really, I actually thought he was going to be in this. I mean,
I was surprised he wasn't
multiverses. I thought I didn't think he was going to be the big bad because I unlike you, I thought we were going to get. Well, no, you thought you were going to get Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange, Black Doctor Who. By the way, congratulations to Black people.
Did you finally get that?
Yeah. You got the guy from Sex Education, which I don't know if you've ever seen that.
No,
the Netflix show. He got cast. He's good. I'm excited. But you thought there was going to be Wanda and Strange teaming up against another big bad, right?
Yes.
My guess, if somebody had asked me, which I'm not in the business of predicting movies and stuff, I don't really think that's all that fun. But if I thought going into the movie,
that's literally what we do sometimes.
We don't predict what movies are.
We do that sometimes though.
We do that.
We do that.
I don't. Okay, whatever. I thought it was going to be our Wanda and Strange teamed up against some other.
Yeah,
Scarlet
that's
Witch.
what I thought. That's what I thought as well. But I kind of do like the swing of just making it our Scarlet Witch be the bad guy.
Yeah, I do. I did make me want to go back and rewatch WandaVision though, because I did feel like they really ended that show, and I thought the whole point of that show, I really did, leaving it was like, oh, we sort of redeemed this character in a way. Not necessarily redeemed, because obviously she still kidnaps a town and brainwashes them, but we get to know her so personally that it felt weird to me to be like, all right, well now she's evil. I mean, it worked in this movie.
But like, I think it's a kind of whole like she got the send off with her husband, but also like the loss of the children, and then also evil corrupt book just didn't really. It just kind of ended. It just kind of. I'm still gonna be the whole evil book is I think it's like a lot of like what, at least it is to me.
How much credence do we put on that with the end credit scene? Like, is this going to be a big part of Strange and the MCU going forward? Because we get the third eye, we get Clea, and it does seem like they're suggesting that like he's been in some way corrupted by this book.
Yeah, I guess there's like he's probably going to be dealing with that. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, my voice is just kind of went. Yeah, I guess it seems like we're maybe going to be like dealing with the whole ramifications. But I think like a lot of things in Strange's comic runs, a lot of it had to do with him like pretty much. It's always like he kept on making deals with the devil, and then like at a certain point, like somebody's going to come back and like bite him. And I mean, I'm actually kind of interested to see that whole like because they kind of teased it with the first one, be like, you shouldn't have done that. There's bad things that are going to happen. And I think it could be a very interesting, like, kind of like way to follow through with that, just kind of seeing like what the bad things are going to happen. And I guess it's going to be Doctor Strange also dealing with the whole, you know.
Yeah, I always wonder with stuff like this, like, is it not until Doctor Strange 3 that we get to address this stuff, or are they? Because it did seem like what they've done is like at the end of Endgame, that was the end of the science arc or science saga of Marvel, and we've really entered the magic saga.
And
magic where Doctor Strange is Doctor Strange and Captain Marvel are the two like anchor points of the MCU, as opposed to Captain America and Iron Man, who are, you know, science-y in a way. Although by the time they got to like Iron Man 3, he was just doing magic and calling it science.
Yeah, like you know, like when he fucking in Infinity War, where he just brings a suit out of fucking his chest and it's just like nanomachines. Like fuck it, who cares?
I do think the nanomachines is comical. Not is like little Deus Ex Machina nonsense. My favorite is still in. I'm pretty sure it's Iron Man 3. Yeah, it must have been, where he recreates the explosion scene in his lab. And he's like, from like, he like found the explosion, he scanned an entire building from it. It's like some Batman Arkham Asylum shit.
I kind of loved it though, but I kind of checked Wikipedia though on it. But apparently, like at the end, Clea showed up and she's like, we have to stop an incursion. So I guess maybe that's like leading into maybe either a team up movie, but it seems like maybe that's like going to be his plot point. So I do think we're going to see him before the third Doctor Strange, but I don't exactly know. I would
have to imagine.
I don't exactly know what's yeah. I wonder if they're going to follow. I don't think they're going to really follow that plot as much. If anything, maybe they might just like lead into it more. Maybe he does some more fucked up things to like give him like sign of like
I know I'm going to be on the outside of looking in on this, but I'm kind of bummed this is the casting for Charlize Theron that we got. It seems like I don't really know anything about Clea. I'll be honest. I basically don't think
she's the current Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, but it's not going to be in the MCU.
I know, but I'm saying there's like she's a character who's been around for a long time.
I'm aware of that. I just thought we would get like, if we were ever going to get Charlize, which I honestly didn't think we would. I thought we'd get
I think it's kind of like, I mean, like we just got Christian Bale. I think it's one of those like movie by movie basis kind of situations. So she probably didn't want to do a big old character and just like pop around a lot. So
yeah. I mean, so I think she's too busy with her Fast and Furious character.
I mean, who knows if that's even good made.
Is she a good guy yet in those movies?
No, man. She like hung out and like basically was on set for probably 3 days in the last movie.
I just love the end of whatever the Jason Statham movie is, where he's at the fucking barbecue with them.
Yeah, no, it's great.
I was like, this dude killed his brother. What's he doing here?
No. He got better. Wait, whose brother?
Didn't he kill oh shit. Actually, I don't remember anymore. He killed somebody's brother, didn't he?
No,
I'm not a Fast and Furious guy.
He killed Han, but Han got better. But Han didn't die.
But we didn't know that when he was drinking Coronas with the fam.
Yeah, don't worry about it, man. He saved his baby. God,
I just think those movies, I mean, they're obviously preposterous, but the most preposterous thing about them is how they just keep making friends past the age of 30. It's impossible. You can't make friends past the age of 30.
On that note, I think we got to end the podcast.
All right.
Like, I can't talk anymore.
Reminder to all the people. Literally the next episode, no matter what Cory says, we're doing Bulletproof Monk, Curse of the Rewatch, the Sean William Scott, Chow Yun Fat, Jamie King, Paul Hunter vehicle. And later in the month, we'll be reading a good book, which is Monsters by Brian Windsor Smith. Anything else for the people, Cory?
No, please pray for me this weekend.
Yeah, Cory's having a bad time.
I need to go drink some tea.
I've been Che.
I've been Cory.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.